Yo, Natsu here. Welcome back for part 1 of What If Deku Was Saved by the White Monarch. This is my third try at making this video in particular, for the same reason that my phone decided to be an idiot, and decided that halfway through, oh, there's a bug, you cannot get the entire thing, not even a minute of it. So yeah, now let's try this one more time. So where we left off, Deku was just about, well, to meet with the two of the students of White Tiger, as well as their group, which by this point you've probably guessed are the Wild Wild Pussycats, since Cat Team. So basically, 1 week before White Tiger dies, he presents Deku to them, explains about him dying, and basically, well, they kind of get used to each other before White Tiger dies and White Fang leaves. Basically, with Deku and Maan already having trained for a while, both in the forest and under White Tiger's and White Fang's, well, I want to say protection, but it's more or less that they were trained by them directly, so yeah. Basically, meaning that Deku and Maan are pretty strong for their age, even in terms of tiger and by that I mean in terms of human and tiger. For their size, they are pretty freaking strong. Mostly since Maan isn't growing at all, and basically when Deku reaches a certain age, Maan will basically get the ability to go into an adult form, in which his physical strength is way stronger, and his ability with the flames and stuff basically stays the same. Basically for Maan, it's just kind of a physical combat form where he is stronger and faster. Deku doesn't have that, since obviously he's human and half tiger, thanks to being a half spirit, and that's pretty much it, where he's just pretty freaking strong. Basically, he gets trained by Mandalay and Tiger, which are the two who were trained by White Tiger beforehand. So basically, the student of the master trains another student, since the master is gone. Also, obviously, the two other Pussycats also help, Ragdoll and Pixie Bob. And Ragdoll's ability in particular is pretty useful with those two, because suddenly they're just gone. And yeah, so finding them is pretty useful of a quirk to find them. So over the course of the 3 next years, for him to go to 9, Deku is trained with the Pussycats from time to time. Basically when they have time, 1, and 2, not always, because he's supposed to be a kid. He's going to school, he has to have fun like a kid, and yeah, you can pretty much guess that, yeah, they don't want him to just train constantly. Also, at school, because of one incident where Deku accidentally, nearly broke. Well, no, he actually did break the arm of another kid, but basically healed it instantly. Because they were doing an arm wrestling contest. With the kid with super strength, basically. Oh yeah, Deku doesn't go at the same school as he was in canon. So he doesn't meet Bakugo until way later, and Bakugo isn't an asshole to Deku just because he's Deku at Quirkless, since they never knew each other that much. So, basically, it keeps going with, firstly him being strictly punished, because, control your strength, which Deku is actually able to do pretty well because of his half-spirit nature. Him and Mael, if they decide that they want to use only a certain amount of their strength, their body actually directly lowers the capable output to that much. Basically, they can increase their strength to their 100%, which they're normally always on, and only actually limits themselves if there's actually a reason to do so. Also, this only affects their physical strength, so basically the amount of force they have. It doesn't actually reduce their speed. Well, they can, but if they only want to reduce their strength, it reduces their strength, keeping everything else there. If they want to reduce their speed, that's getting lowered. Their defense and durability and stamina are different. That they cannot just lower it. It won't happen. So basically, if they want to hold back, they can hold back on strength and speed, but nothing else. Just like how for their flames, it's basically just the output of energy they put in it, so that's also easy to control. But yeah, basically it's thanks to the energy that they're able to control themselves so well. Basically, if they want to restrict themselves, they instantly get that restriction by the energy actually, making it impossible for them to exceed that limit. So, that's that. Over their training, which wasn't that often, about once a week, Deku and Maen actually unlocked a new flame. A purple flame. Which, after very few tests, discovered that this flame doesn't burn physically. It sends the pain that the flames should give you, but it doesn't actually do any harm to your body. And they also discovered that no matter the amount of energy they put into it, it won't matter, since the way they actually give pain is if someone is afraid, angry, or has ill intent towards Deku, Maen, or the flames themselves. So, the more those emotions are there, the more the flame will hurt. So, yeah, kind of hard to... Sorry. Okay. Basically, meaning that those flames are purely there for if something is afraid, angry, or has ill will towards them. Also, even if they stop putting energy into the flames, if it's on someone that has those emotions towards Deku or Maen, depending on which one actually plays the flames, well, the flames will not go out unless they actually want it to go out, or that the emotions are completely gone, aka the person's passed out, or the person died. So, yeah. Pretty hardcore. Basically, that's when they actually started training Deku a lot more to actually control those flames. Control his normal flame as well was something that basically he was told to train extremely well. Basically, so that if he does become a hero, he doesn't have a lack of the energy he uses to create those flames. Mostly if he wants to heal people. So, yeah. Another thing they found out at one point was that if Deku is fully out of energy, well, Deku or Maan, they can simply eat something and instantly get energy. Basically, one of the quirks that Deku has, he doesn't go to the bathroom, like, ever. Because everything that gets eaten or drank basically gets turned into energy. So, yeah. That's pretty much the most impressive thing about the two, that they never actually went to the bathroom ever since they got their powers. Well, since Deku got his powers and Maan was born, I should say. But you get what I mean. The two of them pretty much are anomalies. And when they eat or drink, the reason it simply disappears and turns into energy is literally that their body burns it up and turns it into energy near instantly. Doesn't leave anything behind unless it cannot be turned into energy. Which would be pretty freaking hard. So, example, they could not eat a stone and hope for it to turn into energy unless they had a way to actually destroy the stone. Example, if they were to, let's just say, make the interior of their body make flames, the stone could melt and actually turn into something that's a bit more easy for their body to process. Since once they actually start to melt, they're not as, well, the atoms aren't as compacted as before and are easier to move. So, yeah, if they wanted to eat stone, they could. Just good luck. That's basically the point. So, basically, both of them normally train only when they are allowed to, which after, well, until they are 8, I'm just going to call the age of Deku, basically. Until they are 8, where they actually, well, start to train a lot harder. Basically, instead of holding back while training, they start to go all out and actually injure themselves. The reason being that why don't they actually use the white flames to heal themselves? So basically, whenever they're actually fighting, they basically hurt each other, instantly heal by activating the white flames there, which uses the energy, training that as well, the amount that they can hold, and basically just keep going like that, always. And kind of just making a big deal out of everything, because at one point Deku nearly lost his arm. What happened was that Deku basically moved in a certain way. Maan used flames on, well, his claws, which, remember, he's basically a small tiger cub, so he's not that big. But he has nearly the same strength as Deku. So both of them can nearly fight on par with each other. The difference is that Mayan is harder to touch and moves a bit faster because he is smaller. So basically when they fight on equal terms. Deku is a bigger target, but has more strength. Mayan is smaller and moves faster. So, yeah. And Mayan basically broke Deku's arm, and even with Deku's muscle being compacted and basically extremely hard to pierce or tear or other stuff like that without training it, basically it's still ripped apart, since Mayan's claws are basically as strong as his outer body, meaning strong enough to pierce both his and Deku's body. Sorry, passed in this fucking spider web. But yeah, basically Deku regrew his arm, which at the time had scared, every pussycats around. Which, yeah. So, that was when the pussycats actually learned what they were doing and why they were growing so strong, and basically started to think, let's allow them to actually train whenever they want, as long as they're not somewhere that could harm someone or actually destroy property, or where they could not be seen by someone, basically ripping each other apart. So they train a lot. The problem is that they don't just want to fight while training, but the pussycats don't have the right equipment. Basically, physically, Deku's stronger than most of them. I'm pretty much sure that Tiger is the only one who they cannot beat without using their flames because of, the quirk. So, obviously Tiger doesn't have that much of a chance either in harming Deku and Mayan, but he still has a better chance than the other cats. Pixie Bob is, a wild card in that. Her quirk can actually do a few things against Deku, basically when controlling everything around her, the ground I mean. She can sometimes, not distract them, but basically take them by surprise, and could be able to actually fight back well enough, but she would never win. The moment the flames would come out, that would be done for any of the beasts she creates. But even then, without the flames, they won't allow her to beat them. So, yeah. Still good training, but as you can guess, pretty hard for those two to get anything good unless they basically go out in the wilderness and use rocks or stuff like that to lift or move around, since those are heavier. When Deku is about 9, a bit older, something happened while the pussycats and Deku are outside in the city. Villains attack a spot, a criminal attacks a spot, and the pussycats are basically, going, since they are heroes. Deku is left close to a coffee shop, where, looking around, he can actually see a few people, pregnant woman, someone with a broken leg, and basically he waits there for Mandalay and the others to come back. Fucking cars. Sorry. Basically, while he's waiting, something happened. Two idiots who are drunk gets into a fight. The two of them are, well, pretty bad news for everyone around, because one has the ability to make a mist around his body that is both corrosive and that he can either make more tangible or harder, intangible or harder to make it tangible, with which he can, push stuff out of the way or basically kind of manipulate. The other one has a lightning type quirks that the lightning he uses basically moves around like a lightning bolt in whichever direction he actually sends it. But instead of, passing like lightning like normal, it actually turns into a type of acid. Pretty much anything. Basically, those two start fighting. And yeah, you can pretty much guess that everyone around is in danger. Basically, people are able to hide behind things and kind of be okay until, one of them basically punches the other one without using the quirk. The lightning guy punching the mist guy. The guy with the mist having some of his mist go onto something that was hiding someone, corroding that, and actually revealing the pregnant lady. The lightning guy basically goes back to punch once again the mist guy, but actually basically gets turned around, basically trying to not be in the mist, and sends the lightning straight towards the lady. Which Deku basically reacts kind of on instinct, with Mayan as well, with Deku jumping in front of the lady, and jumping between the lady and Deku activating, his normal flames, while Mayan activates white flames. Basically, Mayan covers himself, the lady, and Deku in them, while Deku covers his own body in normal flames. Sorry, I'm starting to get a bit exhausted. It's my second walk today, as you can guess from me saying that I already tried twice for the video. So, basically, Deku gets his back full of the lightning, which firstly sends a jolt through him, and second burns like acid once it actually turns into acid. Thanks to his flame, a good part of it was, destroyed, and thanks to Mayan's white flames, he was basically healing. But first, it hurt like hell, and second, he knows that if any of it would have fallen on the woman without them protecting her, she would have died. Basically, once he's fully healed, he basically realized that the two didn't even react to them almost killing someone, which made Deku mad. Mayan roared at Deku, "Bro, we have to," with Deku saying pretty sternly and in a voice that was booming enough for nearly everyone to hear, mostly the two villains, "Mayan, stay." Which, firstly, scared the lady, scared everyone else who heard it, and made the two villains look back toward Deku. Deku had put one of his feet towards the villains, and nearly everyone simply saw two things. Deku cracking the pavement and zooming towards the villains, and then in a blink you'll miss it, Deku punched both of them while both of his fists were engulfed in purple flames, and threw them across to the other side of the street where nobody was, with them starting to scream in agony. Deku limited his own strength to not knock them out, but then put the purple flames so that they would suffer until they passed out, to basically make them afraid of trying again. The reason why he did it like that is actually because of White Tiger's teaching. His motto was, make sure the people don't try again. Never kill them unless absolutely necessary, but still, if needs be, hurt them to the point that they cannot continue. Make them afraid to continue. Make them afraid to do anything again like that. Which is why he did it. Which the Pussycats are trying to get out of him. Mine is the same way, just to say. Both of them will basically harm someone enough to not kill them, but still basically make them not want to continue. Once they actually stopped screaming and were passed out, the flames extinguished themselves on their own, and Deku used white flames to heal them. To basically not give long-lasting damage, and only scarring them mentally to not do something like that again. Once Deku actually finished, his face actually turned back to that of a normal kid, let's just say, which was calm, and basically Ma'en went and jumped on his head, saying, "Bro, you're scary when you go like that." With Deku saying, "Yeah, but you were about to do the same thing," with Ma'en just kind of laughing it off a bit. Because nobody actually saw Ma'en's face, but it was that of a predator ready to kill. Even though he's in cub form, so it didn't look that bad. But Deku knows what it is, and know what was going to happen. So, yeah. Limit the damage. The police was called while the fight was going. They arrived while the villain were screaming, weren't able to pass through the people until the end, and basically tried to arrest Deku and Ma'en. Because obviously Deku was part of the fight. So, yeah. Everyone basically took Deku's defense, the pregnant lady in particular, and thanks to the Pussycats arriving a bit later, everything was kind of resolved. Though Deku still got, punished once they got back home, because obviously he needed to be. They had told him to not use those flames unless absolutely necessary. And they're pretty sure he could have just knocked them out while punching instead of doing that. Once again trying to get out of his head, the way that White Tiger basically pummels someone half to death to try and stop them from committing crime. So, basically, once they finally go back home, Deku's punished. Mine is as well because, they knew that if Deku was thinking of that, he was as well. They don't always think the same, In fact, most of the time they think completely unalike. But when something like that happens, yeah, no, that instincts basically come out and they are ready to kill. So yeah. This fight was actually filmed by a few people, caught by a few other cameras, and broadcasted on the news, basically saying that it seems like the Wild Wild Pussycats have a little protege. So, basically showing the kid basically taking the hit, looking back, screaming something, which cannot be heard correctly on the cameras because of a few other sounds. And then, bam, the people in the wall of a building and screaming like hell. For a good reason. Which actually sparked the desire of training into someone else. Melissa Shield. In this canon, universe, what if, she, once again, was pretty intelligent and quirkless. But this time, she actually wanted to make equipments that she herself could use, as well as equipments for other people, which would allow her to do hero work without the need of a quirk. She was training her body a bit, but nowhere near the amount she would need to be considered strong. So, basically after seeing that, though, she basically wanted to train more physically to also have that. Basically not completely leaving the idea of equipment, but thinking less of it as the, everything. So, her training began, and a few days later someone came for a visit to Shield. To Thomas. Basically, it's All Might. And actually sees her training and basically asks what's going on. She explains about the boy, who she doesn't know the name, and basically that she wants to train to be stronger. Basically, All Might knew of her dream of becoming a hero thanks to her own equipment. But hearing that she also wants to train physically now, and that basically she will never give up her dream of becoming a hero, All Might actually asked her if she wanted to be trained by him. For the obvious reason of giving her one for all if she wants it later. Both Melissa and David accept, making Melissa train under strict regimes for about a year and a few months, basically 9-10 months. And then about alright, I should point out that Melissa's birthday was, advanced, or I should basically, she will still be 1 year older than Deku. The difference is that their age aren't basically, we have 1 year and something of difference. It's more, we have a few months of difference. With the way her birthday is basically like me. She is late enough in the year to be old enough to actually go to school before the end of the year, but not old enough to basically still be able to go to school. Basically meaning that in every school year she went, she was 1 year older than everyone else. But still the age that should be for that year. Basically, that's so that her and Deku can be in the same class in the same year once they get to UA. Obviously, I could have stayed her age the same and basically made her just go to UA, well, at the same age. Just basically she's 1 year later than what her normal age would make her at. But anyway, I wanted to at least close a bit the age gap. Kind of for a relationship, but they're not going to be sure until way later for them. You're going to understand. But yeah, basically, Deku keeps training. She trains with All Might, and about 2 months before they actually meet each other. So, Deku's basically 10 years and 10 and a half months old. So basically, she gets one for all there. Then All Might keeps training her for about 2 months. And then something happens in America, which All Might is invited with someone else, which he brings Melissa. And Deku, well, the Wild Wild Pussycats, get invited to the same spot in America. Basically what it is a hero convention for heroes from all around the world. And it happens in America. So the Wild Wild Pussycats brought Deku. Like I said in the 2 other tries, I don't remember if Koda is actually there that year, if it was before that his parents were killed and they were brought with them, or if it's later. So basically, if Koda is already with dead parents and with the Wild Wild Pussycats, he stays in Japan with friends of the Pussycats because, well, he hates heroes now. So you can pretty much guess that, yeah, putting him in a place where heroes from all around the world are going to be would not be the best for him. Deku was still brought because first he wants to be a hero, and second he can learn a lot most likely from the heroes of the other places. So yeah, for Deku it's basically just a training ground where he can learn from others and such. Basically, after the convention, All Might is jogging with Melissa. You know what? I'm going to end it now. This is going to be part 1, right before they meet. So, hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. If you have a question, comments, leave them in the comment section. I'm pretty much reading everything since there's normally, well, almost no one who actually posts a comment. So it's easy to read. So yeah, later.